King Maponga. He's life-changing. His words, his drive, it's life-changing. And that's what we need right now. We need powerful speakers who can impact us right through to the core of our DNA and move us spiritually. Our King is back with us. Let's see if we can hear from him.
This is a very intentional project. We did it not by ourselves. We opened up a page with Catherine, where my writings on the main blog page, which is the Farmers of Thought page, has been running on, I think, for the past 10 years or so plus. And Catherine then got excited and decided to go, after I finished writing the whole big block of writing, he would then get inside there and pick up some few quotations, which then he created a page where, as a student and as a young man, he was also learning and picking up the things that he thought were interesting. And almost 2 years later, if not 3 almost, here we are as a product of that collection. So we put up an advert like select your favorite quotations, and many of you out there responded by picking up your favorite quotations, and we gathered all those quotations together. Then I did a little bit of editing and rewriting the introduction, the body, and added some explanations here and there where the clarity was not there. And here we are today, after almost a year and a half of writing, tagging to and fro, setting up the platforms. And a few years ago, people were asking me, so when can we have an ebook? When can we have an ebook? I never gathered guts to break into that space, looking at the technicalities, the officializing, the payment channels, the book printing, and all these things. And we are almost comfortable. I should say we are 99.9% from making this one of the first offerings from Farmers of Thought to be able to have an ebook available out there. Everything will be transparent. We are not running a scam here. And maybe while we are right at the beginning, I need also to mention, why did we do the ebook? Why did we do the ebook and set up this platform? The idea was to begin to officially create the Farmers of Thought blogging pages and turn part of that into an institution of continuous learning. I know on my page we have attracted quite a variety of audiences, from students who are genuinely learning to compatriots, which I might call companions, who have been growing together with us, where we share notes. I pick up something, they pick up something, we gather information together, and we keep on rolling as an avalanche to where we are now. Of course, we've also been able to attract apologists and Christian apologists, Islamic apologists, and Hebrew and Jewish apologists, and other religions who have come here to wage war and say, you can't be saying this because things are like this, you can't be saying this and things are like this. I take no offense in all those conversations. Wherever there is learning, wherever there is movement, there is inertia. For every effort in any direction, there is resistance in every opposite direction. That is how speed is considered. But above everything else, we are happy to those who are bridging their knowledge system between the colonial knowledge and they want to connect that with their indigenous knowledge. So why are we doing this? We thought we would put a book out, share the information and knowledge, and most importantly also the proceeds of the book sale. We now want to create for you a back office of a fully fledged training and development program where we've identified 14 courses so far that we're going to be running in the backdrop of these quotations, so that people can actually come and go through various spaces of learnerships. In the next few weeks, we are cracking full on to register Farmers of Thought Institute with a professor in Uganda and in Kenya and Tanzania, who has opened a groundbreaking African Science and Technology Institution, who will be able to actually give us the backup and the accreditation of this training material into a proper worldwide recognized qualification, which then we can say you're a science student, beautiful, but then you come to this platform and say, how do you use your science colonial degree and marry it with African science? So for me, very critical, because many of our educational experiences will be teaching us how to have a CV and run away. But if you come via here, we will be tapping into one big word we call innovation. The question is, how do you convert your mechanical degree, your fashion degree, your entertainment degree, your science, your accounting, your political science, your African culture, your geography, whatever qualification that you could have qualified in? How can that training that you received now be indigenized, be contextualized, and be inculturated into the African culture? So I would like to call this a catalytic center, so to speak, where we are going to speed up your learning, where we're going to speed up your participation and unlock your innovation, so that your knowledge that you have gathered, which could be academic knowledge, could actually be infused into life itself for continuous participation and relevance. There's no way and reason why an educated person should go out there and look for a job when actually they've been trained to do the job. The only question is, how is my qualification relevant in solving the problems that are in the community? So, and I think this is an excellent platform where like-minded people are going to gather together and create some synergies and symbiosis, understanding, interaction, exchange of knowledge, participation, and growing together as a great African community. We hope out of this we'll be able to create new businesses, we'll be able to create new relationships. We have lots of needs in the continent, but our weakness has been we have not been able to talk to each other. We've been talking at each other, but talking with each other, inclusive to those who want to do serious migrations and come back to Africa, those who want to interact their businesses with the African businesses. If you are running schools out there, if you are running products, if you're running agricultural products and etc., there's nothing that stops us from connecting with each other on this platform and begin to share the food in the Caribbean, the food that is in Africa, the clothing, the art that is in Caribbean, exchanging our children between platforms, those who want to come and study there, children that want to come and study here, and look at possibilities of us beginning to get our children marrying each other, getting ourselves celebrating festivals together. But it can only get to that platform after we've started to understand each other. And I think this, for me, is a very critical. Above knowledge transfer is also language sharing. How do we begin to greet each other, respect each other? What are the fundamentals and values of our own African culture? We've been made to be suspicious of each other. In some certain cases, the narratives that we have, particularly in the West, it is the Africa that is barbaric, that is demonic, where Africans are hanging on trees like monkeys, eating bananas, where snakes and lions are sleeping outside of the yard and things like that. We don't blame you for having those perspectives, to such an extent that some of the Africans that are out there are scared of coming to Africa, because they think when you jump out of the airport, you'll have a whole flood of spiders that are on your head and you will be pestered by hyenas and stuff like that. It is intentional. The people who send this information and flooded the markets, the movies, the King Kongs, those who have been writing movies about Cleopatras and writing movies about stolen diamonds and blood diamonds. All you hear about Africa are guns, it's corruption, it's a flood, it's hunger, it's disease, it's Ebola, it's and then the African that is there must be chilling in his blood to think that actually if I get across the continent there and I'll be consumed. Hey, to be at peace. Here we are in Africa. We have built ourselves some 5, 6, 7, 8 roomed houses. We have garages, 4 or 5 garages that are parking 6, 7, 8 cars. We also have bikes down here in Africa. We can cruise on the thing. We have internet in Africa here. We have schools, we have restaurants, we have couture also. We eat with forks and knives in Africa. There are universities and computers, and there are aeroplanes and all the infrastructures. It's not as bad. In some certain cases, some of our cities are actually two to three, 4 times much cleaner and newer than some of your cities that are outside there. So we hope through this interaction, we'll be able to share information and demystify the whole barbaric ideologies of the Western culture in terms of them reflecting on African culture. So your proceeds and your money will be used basically to build the institution of Farmers of Thought and begin to create a legacy platform where you and your children can continuously learn storytelling and we grow together. I thank you.
Okay, fantastic. It's such a heartwarming vision and mission that you have. Clearly it's a vision that you have for our young people, for our people, to create, that school of learning where we can create the leaders of tomorrow, and so by investing in this ebook, and I hope everyone's got the link. I've posted the link to the ebook in the chat. Please do click on the link and go to Farmers of Thought on Gumroad and get a copy of that ebook. By buying that ebook, you will be buying into the vision, you will be buying into the mission that you've heard King Joshua talk about, because we've got to change the narrative. We are the ones who are going to have to wake our people up about, the beauty of Africa and what Africa is really like.
There's a book you can find, I think, on Farmers of Thought reading page entitled When Africa Civilized the World. Beautiful piece of work that some of the Pan-Africanists have put together, almost our forefathers, the Auntie Diops and Chikandi Diops and other Duplois and big names that have run ahead of us. Dr. Selby's, Martin Luther's, the contributions of the Malcolm X's, the Marcus Garvey's, the list can go on and on. Every generation has been contributing what they had to contribute. From the ancient times to where we are, we have been able to look back into our history, and every time we do that, we find ourselves again. Every time we peep into our history, we find ourselves again. What is exciting is like a seed that is taken away from the corn and it is stored away. Some of the seeds can be eaten, but the few seeds that have remained, the beautiful part is that if you can find a fertile piece of ground and you plant that seed onto the fertile ground again, you will be able.
See, let me ask how the audio is.
You will be able to see the seed germinate again, grow again, and a new crop can be realized. So I don't want to look at it from the negative view that we have lost. We have lost, yes, but we are here. We are the seeds of the ancient past. And should we be planted on fertile ground, I am very sure that a new germination, a new ideology, a new season, and a new harvest is along the way. As long as our ears are still open and our knowledge is still there, the possibilities of our growth is unlimited. I thank you.
I heard the latter part of what you said, though, that we are the seeds of those great ancestors. Oh my gosh, that just dropped into my spirit. Yes, indeed. We survived. We have survived. The fact that we're still here means that we are survivors. And so, we will be able to recreate our former greatness again at some point in the future. And if I can just link, what we're talking about today in terms of the works of King Joshua Maponga in the ebook that he's produced with, even what's going on today. Earlier in my show today, we were talking about the Ghanaian election results, and the former Vice President Mahamadou, he accepted defeat, and we've got a new the opposition leader actually won the elections, John Mahama. And so when he was coming in, we were learning today, he was coming in with a message of hope, a message of inspiration for the people. He was talking about, the changes that he was going to bring about, because Ghana, where it is today, it's in such economic crisis because they've been following, the Western economic system. The country is in recession, the people are struggling, food prices are really high, the people are impoverished, they're in really awful situation. And this new elected president came in with a campaign saying that he's going to be the change that the country needs. And no sooner is he in the door, what is he doing? Instead of looking at, Ghana's wealth, that it actually has the agricultural wealth, the produces that it could be producing to get people out of poverty, instead of looking at its minerals and its riches, its gold, its diamonds, its manganese, its bauxite, and everything else, and looking at how it could use some of that to generate income and wealth for its people. What is he telling his people to do? Pray. He's calling on the churches to pray, as if they can pray their way out of poverty. He's calling on the church, he's calling on the people of Ghana to pray, because he says, that the economic situation that the country is in is so bad. Can we hear your thoughts on that, please?
Every country, every people, they deserve their leader. Every country deserves the quality of leadership that it has. Why do I say that? Because what you produce is what you eat. What you produce is what you eat. So leadership is a product of your educational institution. Leadership is a product of your religious institutions. Leadership is a product of your societal institutions. So depending on the quality of people that you produce in that country, religiously, economically, the people that you produce in your country, religiously, economically, and politically, the quality of your education and your societal structures will reward you with the quality of leader that you have. So Ghana has a leader that is equal to the amount of investments the government has been putting in the educational institution. So if you have produced religious leaders, what you end up having are religious leaders. If you produce political leaders, you end up with political leaders. But if you produce industrialists, you end up with industrialists. Something, if you produce economic leaders, you end up with economic leaders. So what you find, as you may look, peep across the door in terms of Kenya, I hear that the President Ruto had organized a special pastor for his wife, who was Mrs. President. They had a special prayer warrior room where Mrs. President of Kenya was running prayer sessions in the parliament, in the in a state house, with a full prayer team that was running. And at the end of those prayer sessions, Ruto almost lost his presidency, because the solutions that we need, I don't know how people can just learn this. They've been studying this book, but studying it upside down. There are three types of prayers that we are taught in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 7, which then says, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, and knock and the doors will be opened unto you. There are three levels, therefore, in which you can look at how we can make our request known. Level one is the A level. where you basically are asking for something. You go out with your hands open to IMF, you open up your hands to World Bank, you open up your hands to the international funders, and you just open up your hands, you're asking for something, which is a very primitive way of starting to live, where you're basically a beggar. Open up your hands and ask for something. Level two are those who are seeking for what they are asking for. So if the Bible says, ask, you shall receive, seek, and you shall find, knock, and the door shall be opened. The first level, our African presidents have been working on the A level, which is the asking level. But when I begin to look at some of the leaders in Africa who have moved from the A level to the S level, where they are beginning to seek for their own solution. You are no longer asking for solutions, but you are seeking for solutions. You can begin to look at countries that are transforming their policies and actively starting getting involved in. We cannot be waiting here asking for the West to deliver us some gifts, but we're going to get out of here and start seeking for those critical solutions. That's level two, which is the S level. But the most beautiful level of them all is the K level, where you are now beginning to knock at doors and doors are opening. This is an active bashing of doors, banging on those doors and beginning to have access into spaces. What Traore has been doing, for example, where we are now beginning to break through the asking mode, break through the seeking mode, and get to the level where we are at the knocking mode. We are knocking for our own opportunities and knocking things down. And if I have any advice for the Ghanaian president, I will not find anything better to tell him, but that the first official trip that he must do, he must go and visit Traore. He must go and visit Traore immediately, Ibrahim Traore. Let that be the first assignment that he will do, so that he can align the vision of Ghana with that great movement that is happening in the north. Number two, we must be careful as presidents that we do not run the agenda of the West. The agenda of the West is more minerals, more digging, more mining, more this. Yes, with a short-term insertion in terms of money. But when your mining is destroying your water, when your mining is destroying your agriculture, when your mining is destroying your natural habitats, then you must know that after you have made your money in mining, you have destroyed your fisheries, you have destroyed your tourism, you have destroyed your agriculture, you have destroyed your animal life, you have destroyed human life. I've seen some of those gruesome pictures that are in Ghana, where all the waterways have been polluted by these multinationals who have been washing their mineral ores in the rivers and just dumping that water back into the river. That's illegal. That is illegal. Some of those mining processes must be stopped immediately, and whoever was being mining there must be charged with some of the greatest fines that has ever been found in the world. Because there's no way you can be waiting to make some little money out of mining, but downstream you have rendered the entire country or region or province dysfunctional in terms of pollution. Then you can never be seeing progress through mining when housing, fishing, agriculture, environment, tourism, house, it has all been destroyed by the same mining. Then you're working backwards. Maybe we should stop the mining altogether and let people at least have food, have water, have fish, and etc. Because at the end of the day, we are back to serious colonization where these miners are coming into a place because they want to pollute the place. They must move the people from that area and go and dump them somewhere else in some non-productive land. And this has been the quality of the contract that some of our stupid presidents have been involved in, where you become so greedy to get that small little brown envelope of your corruption at the expense of destroying the habitat, the people, the life, the food, the livestock, the flora, the fish of the entire environment, because you've been bribed with some 3-4 million in your Mauritius account to allow a company to come and dig and mine and destroy the nature. I think this is quite unethical. Some of these presidents are cool for himself. I think we must look for him and arrest him for having allowed some of these things to happen right under his watch. How can a president come and allow these Chinese to come and destroy an entire mountain, dump the rubbish in the river, destroy that entire community, and is sitting in parliament and even asking for re-election? Who, who is sick here? Development without ecological intelligence is destruction. I thank you.
We thank you so, so much. And, you know, this is the sort of perspective that the future leaders need to have, because, you know, this generation, the vast majority have been miseducated and indoctrinated with this vision that it's all about extracting the resources, not giving any consideration to the environment. You know, we've got to, but, you know, as a people with humanity, not only does our humanity extend to, you know, us as humans, but also to the animal kingdom, also to the environment. You know, we are the ones who have a duty and responsibility to protect the planet, you know, and to make sure we protect it for future generations to come, because the destruction that we're causing today, you know, it's going to have long-term implications for future generations. So, you know, I didn't hear all of what you had to say there, King, but from what I did hear, I think you know, you were talking about the importance of taking care of the environment and not exploiting the environment to the extent that we are, and all of the pollution that we're causing.
And if I can add something, what makes a difference between a king and a president? It is that the president is what makes a difference between the modern political system and the ancient political system is that when you are being inaugurated as a king, they will take up a horn of an animal or something like that, where they put the oil for your anointing. They would get up some mats from the river where you must be sleeping or sitting on. You'll have these clay pots where they're going to be putting some broods inside, or etc. You're going to be having some feathers of animals on your head. There's be some honey somewhere. There is, and when you look at all these elements, when they are put together into the inauguration of the king, the shields, the spears, the everything that he has, the idea is not just to make you feel like you are now the king, but you are not a king if you don't have these things. If you don't have these things, so you are inaugurated into office to become the champion of preserving the animals. That's why you have the horn in your hand. You must preserve the wildlife. That's why you have a shield in your hand. You must preserve the birds. That's why you have that pair of feather that is on your head. You must preserve the water. That's why you are being inaugurated and water is poured on you. You must preserve the honey. That's why you must taste the honey and you eat it. So you are not just a king over the land in terms of enjoying the opulence of power, but you are the king over the ants. You are the king over. You are king over the ants. You are king over the butterflies. You are king over the birds. You are king over the.
I dropped off for a minute, King. My apologies.
I was saying the inauguration of a king, you include the horns, the feathers, the honey, the reeds, the clay pots, and the skins. And when all these things are put together, it does not give you opulence and make you look big, because there you are. You know, many of you, when you look at our African kings, you get so distasteful, you know, it's disgusting, because they just look like these animals that are full of feathers and carrying big horns and things. And you look at them and go, wow, that looks so gothic and gore. But what you don't understand is that the inauguration of a king, you are not king if you don't have these things, if you don't have these things. But what does it mean? It means that while you are the king, you are responsible for protecting what you are holding. Protect the animals, protect the bird, the feathers that are on your hand, protect the water that you are holding in, protect the bees, the honey that you are testing, protect the reeds, the rivers that you'll be drinking from. So when you look at the dressing of a king and everything that he has, he is actually carrying the entire community, the entire nature with its fullness as part of his inauguration, so that he is responsible for looking after this element. When you look at that and you turn it around to how presidents are being inaugurated in your countries of Africa and beyond, all the president needs is a clean pair of shoes from Paris, it's a jacket and it's a tie, and he goes into parliament, raise up your hand, you are now the president of a country. And I don't think some of these presidents even have a clue of what are they supposed to be doing. You are not there to be destroying the environment, but you are there as the chief custodian for the preservation of the very environment in which you are asked to become the leader of, or you are asked to become the champion of preservation rather than the champion of destruction. So it's unfortunate that we have presidents and we have lost value of our kings, and our presidents don't know their land, and their land does not know them, which is a very unfortunate situation where they live in their presidential houses and they don't even know where the ants, the birds, and the bees are staying. And if bees die on this world, for example, you kill bees only, in less than 3 years, the whole world will be starving. They are the biggest farmers of all times. So the destruction of nature and flora messes up pollination, messes up agriculture, messes up the bird life, messes up the whole food cycle. Bees are some of the most important insects that we have on the face of the earth, as they are responsible to be the first farmers who basically conduct the scientific formulas of moving flowers from pollen to pollen and improving the quality of our food. So unfortunately, our political understanding of leadership in terms of presidential election falls short of the knowledge which the presidents must be having. I mean, who can call a man like Akupo a president where outside of his yard such amount of destruction is happening and he's sitting in parliament and saying, I'm a president? We are a president of what? When what you're supposed to be presiding over is being destroyed. I know, quite interesting. And in as much as we would want to look at our modernity in the light that we are now eating with forks and knives, we can have motorcades that are running and chasing behind us. We can fly to the United Nations and stand and take some pictures with some fellow, international figures. I don't think that should be the definition of what true leadership is all about. True leadership has to do with you as a president getting off your motorcade and walking down to the river and taking a glass of from your car and pick up water from that river and drink. And if you as the president can't drink that water, you need to go up the river and find out who has polluted this water. And it must be your business to make sure that from where activities of industries are happening to where the river is pouring into the ocean, that every piece of life along that river is preserved. Every animal and is preserved. Human beings are preserved. And three things only all leaders must be aware of. Make sure that people have clean water. Make sure that the land is preserved. Make sure that the air people are breathing is preserved. And if you can just keep those three principles in their simplicity, you may actually discover that the entire issue of human survival and governance depends on how we interact with those three elements: our air, our land, and our water. As a president, what is the quality of water? What is the quality of land, and what does the land have? What is the quality of the air, and what can we do to make sure that these three elements continuously deliver to our people the best basic gift that nature has given us? To live in harmony with nature is the highest form of civilization. I thank you.
There's so many breaking news stories that I wanted to bring to you and have King comment on, because the wisdom that he brings is all incorporated within his book. So there is a new ebook that's available. Please do make sure that you get a copy. I'm going to post the link again in the chat, because King Maponga for many years now, because some of you have been following King for years. He's got a number of social media handles. Some of you may already be following him on some of those social media handles. And you can follow him on Twitter, you can follow him on Facebook, you can follow him on YouTube. Just go to Farmers of Thought. You can go to Maponga Quotes on Facebook. You can go to African Indigenous Movement on Facebook. You can find him at Maponga Quotes on TikTok. You can find him at Maponga Quotes on Twitter as well, and also on Instagram. And if you've been following King on any of these social media platforms, you will know that for years he's been coming out with some very deep, thought-provoking quotes, some proverbs, some poems that really make you see the world from a different perspective. And he's launched his book, Farmers of Thought: What is in the Cup from the Ground? And, the proceeds that he gets from this book, if you were tuned in earlier, you will hear is going towards, a wonderful cause. It's all about, generating the funds that's needed so that we can create the institutions that we need in order to teach our leaders of tomorrow. But we can't do it without your support. So please do get a copy of the book. King Joshua, I wonder if you could just say a little bit about your ebook that you're launching, and if you can let our people know why they ought to be getting copies of it, especially with the festive season.
The book is now available. The links are available. The first bird, those who are going to be starting doing the ordering, can start running. And I think in the back office, we're just finalizing also one or two website and other structures that we need to make sure that we are able to distribute this book internationally to everybody. How do you read this book? Would be a next most important session for me, where it's not just a book that you read and you throw away. No, it's a book that is intended that while you are reading this book, you internalize the book. So I suggest maybe you read it slowly. You're not in a hurry to finish. You read one proverb per day, like literally one proverb per day. And then you internalize the proverb and you think around it. And I would have been tempted to write the proverb and then put the explanation. But again, that defeats the whole purpose of activating your mental involvement in interacting with the proverbs themselves. And I hope that will be creating quite an interesting platform where you don't understand, you should be able to ask your friends, how do you say this in your own tribe? How do you say this in your own language? And I think it's in the midst of that interaction that we can begin to learn from each other. So it's not necessarily written as I'm reading this book, guys, I'm reading by myself. No, you can never read it by yourself. You need to read it with your community. You need to read it with others. You need to read it with your children. Our proverbs are actually coded languages. It's a coded language. When we want to say the deep thing, we hide it inside idioms, proverbs, and wisdom, so that we necessarily could speak to each other in the presence of our enemies, and they would never know what we are talking about. So proverbs are a language of war. It is our Morse code of passing on very sensitive information, which has to do with recalibration of the human soul without necessarily being offensive. So it's a mental science to be able to understand the wisdom of Proverbs. And when you internalize that, you'll be very fascinated to note that it actually tempers with your radar system, how you perceive and look at things and interpret them. But it creates a brilliant platform for interaction. And as I was saying earlier on, it would be very exciting to see other young and old authors who are going to leech on this thing. Our critics will come and say, but you're writing African proverbs. Why wasting time? Why still write them in English? Why put them in English? You must put them in Shona. And you're using white man's gadgets and what. And we have heard those complaints for the longest of time. Our intention here is an academic, educational, societal, cultural, interactive platform where this information is available to get the conversation started. As such, we hope that we can appeal to the young and old writers who can come and join with us to participate in improving the writings and translations and let the education of the African children continue. Yes, it's official. The e-books is now available. And I think those who want to be early birds can start clicking the buttons and sharing the information with us. Please work with us. I know the temptation to download and then cut and paste and steal from each other, that kind of thing. And amazing, some people can be Christians, can be Muslims, but their ethics in terms of understanding what we are trying to do will always be sabotaged by the human elements of greed and of theft. Some people could be sitting there looking for codes. How do you crack this so that you can get the book for free and then share it for free? But then you're defeating the whole purpose as to why are we doing this? I mean, I've been doing Facebook live programs for the past 10, 11 years. I've not charged or received a penny for the past 10 years. People have come on this platform. They have downloaded my videos. They have built their own empires. Some are sitting on 3, 5, 10 million. They are receiving thousands of dollars from YouTube and Facebook and other platforms, and they're making a living out of the content. I've never followed any one of them to ask for a penny for that happening. And for the first time now, we want to build even a better institution for you and your children. We would want to ask you to say, please work with us and participate with us, become part of this beautiful and wonderful, wonderful platform. Get a voucher, get a few vouchers, send your friends over Christmas. Buy a book for a friend, and send them the link. Buy them the book if you can. The book is very cheap. We only made it for $4.99. And as you fully know, we can share the details very frankly. There's nothing to steal from anybody. The $1 is going for Gumroll platform where the book is being held. $1 is going for Tanis and the marketing of the book. $1 is going for Kasimi and the marketing of the book. $1 is coming for the author, and $1 is going for Farmers of Thought as an institution. So there you have it. We have nothing to hide. My armpits are up in the air. That's exactly how we're going to be rolling with it. So I can't pay Sister Shanice for what she's doing. I can't pay Kasumi for what he's doing. So we all are going to be working together jointly towards the distribution and the sales of this book worldwide. And we have set up platforms in the background. We're setting up websites in the background. There are bills to be paid also in terms of keeping these platforms running while we are marketing the book. So no one has contributed nothing except the brains and the gift that we have put on the table. And all of us who are going to be willing to participate on this program, I think other forms of contracts can be designed for the new people who want to translate also into their own languages. We can see how much also you can be able to make. So I'm not promising lots of employment, but if you have an interest in terms of working with us in translation of these proverbs into your local language, I promise you, with the team that I have on the table, we will also be able to make it worth your while. Whoever brings and contributes, I believe anyone who sweats while we are hunting, he must also get a piece of the meat. when the buffalo has dropped. So there's no way we can use you to do your work and translate. And I think, remember, there's another young lady who was translating the gospel who is in Curacao, whom we're working with. She would have fallen on the line, but if one can reach out to her also, I think she'll be very excited to know that we've now set up a platform where these translation can begin to be monetized. But we can only monetize them as people are participating. So after translating into your local language, the question is how do we now create an audience which can read that language? And only when they read and they download and they pay, you will also be able to realize the benefits of what you are doing in terms of your own project. So some of you are looking and listening, and you wanted to take this project to your own personal space. There is an opportunity of working together with us on Farmers of Thought in terms of translation, distribution, and marketing of the project. And I hope that all of us will be one big happy family. And I don't want, when I die one day, someone to come on my grave and point on my grave that I owe them anything. I owe no person nothing except love. So let's make it worth a while as we are working on this piece of work that we participate, and everybody can be able to benefit from the efforts that we put. I thank you.
We thank you so, so much. I am so honored to be part of this drive. I'm so honored to be part of this mission. And internet permitting, I'll be allowed to stay on the team. Thank you so much, King Joshua. I'll certainly be doing all I can to support. And, I just hope that my audience, will get behind your mission and vision, because it's not, a personal thing, it's a community thing. It's something that's for our people. And it's what we want to leave behind as a legacy for the next generation. Just imagine if the book sales were so much so that we can build our own educational institution, initially online, so that we could be building tomorrow's leaders with the mindset of those such as King Maponga. We can't continue with the leaders that we've got today, with the mindset, the corrupted mindset that they have. And, these proverbs, this way of thinking that King Maponga has, is going to be about transforming the minds of future generations. So please do get a copy of the ebook. Please do support me as I support the King in the works that he's doing. I believe in the vision. I believe that we have to be transforming the minds of our people. I believe that we are the ones who are going to have to do the work. No one is going to do it for us. And we've got someone like Joshua King Maponga who's prepared to sacrifice his time to make it happen. Let's support him so that he can support the community, and our future generations in the works that he's doing. And, as you've been hearing from King, so much wisdom to share. We are honored. I am honored that you are part of this platform and sharing with our audience today. So to every single one of my audience members, to those of you who are listening, please do get a copy of the ebook. Please do support the great of King Joshua Maponga. We are honored during this time, to be part of this great works that he's doing. We really are honored. And so let's make it worthwhile, family. Let's start getting the sales from tonight. Let's click the link up there in the chat and, be buying copies of the book. Thank you so, so much again, King Maponga. Apologies again for the internet connections, but we're going to do it better.
No, it'll be well. And as we learn, we grow. As we grow, we transform. And we cannot say the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. The youth are the leaders of today, because the decisions they make today, they are going to harvest them tomorrow. So we don't have to wait for the leaders of tomorrow. The leaders of tomorrow are training today. So if there is no preparation today, there's no tomorrow. He who fails to prepare prepares to fail. I thank you.
Here, from King Maponga, he's life-changing. His words, his drive, it's life changing, and that's what we need right now. We need powerful speakers who can impact us right through to the core of our DNA and move us spiritually. Our King is back with us. Let's see if we can hear from him.
This is a very intentional project. We did it not by ourselves.